The ANC has removed Obed Bapela from the National Executive Committee of the party over his recent controversial Morocco trip. The dismissal of Obed Bapela from his position in the NEC of the ANC puts a spotlight on the party's foreign policy position, particularly on the contested Western Sahara. Obed Bapela was the deputy chairperson of the International Relations Subcommittee of the ANC until he was dismissed from his position earlier on this month. The ANC has adopted a resolution at its 55th National Conference supporting the recognition and self-determination of the Saharawi people in Western Sahara. The ANC regards Morocco as a colonizing power in Western Sahara. We unpack this further with Thembisa Fakude, AfriState Senior Research Fellow and Director. Thembisa, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. This tip-off about Obed Bapela's visit to Morocco and surreptitiously giving Morocco an intention or intimating to Morocco that they may well be able to discuss the position in the ANC and reconsider its position. That tip-off reached the ANC through its allies in a different country, very specifically in Algeria, which is a country that has great tension with Morocco, specifically over Western Sahara. What is the sheer magnitude of this international relations foreign policy controversy that the ANC faces right now?
Well, it's quite serious because there are a number of voices now that believe that, one, South Africa should prioritize its national interest, and it has to press the reset button regarding its relationship with Morocco. South Africa continues, by the way, to work with Morocco. Economically, they've got healthy working relations. And what Obed Bapela is accused of having committed in Morocco, to some of us who've been observing those politics, doesn't make sense, because one, South Africa has got a relationship, diplomatic relationship with Morocco, and the economic relationship which continues to improve. And at the same time, Morocco was invited back into the African Union after being absent for a very long time because of the Western Sahara situation. So the utterances that Obed Bapela is accused of having uttered in Morocco don't make sense. But of course, the claims are that he went on a personal visit and misrepresented himself as representing the ANC, and that's why he got the boot.
Yeah. What now for the ANC, given that it now has to find a way to repair its reputation as far as foreign policy is concerned? Does the dismissal of Obed Bapela suffice as an action strong enough to repair that?
I don't think so. I think it doesn't, but it also exposes cracks within the ANC, particularly ANC's foreign policy. Notwithstanding that the ANC continues to support people of Western Sahara, but there are voices within the ANC that believes that the relationship should be amended. Morocco continues to do business with South Africa. Companies such as Sanlam are benefiting from that relationship. And the concern for most people is what happens if Morocco and Algeria reconcile, which is likely, given that China, for example, is on a charm offensive and reconciling old and new foes in the region. We know what they did with Iran and Saudi Arabia, and they also went to reconcile the Palestinian factions. And the belief at the moment is that they might just do the same because of the Belt Road Initiative, do the same with Morocco and Algeria. And if that happens, South Africa will be left alone. We might just find ourselves with the power in our face.
Is the sanction of removing Obed Bapela from the NEC a dramatic one? I ask that in the backdrop of South Africa and, of course, the ANC being aligned to that, campaigning the world over now for support for its position of the United Nations Security Council reform and reconfiguration.
Well, it was harsh and it was swift. Such actions often take some time within the ANC, but the way in which Obed Bapela was dealt with, it was very quick. And he was kicked out by his boss, Nomvula Mokunyana, who has since, by the way, doubling not only as a second Secretary General of the ANC, but now, of course, the chairperson of the subcommittee of the international relations. So it suggests that there's something, not all is right within the ANC international relations. But at the same time, it also suggests that Obed Bapela, who by all accounts is one of the most experienced, at least within the subcommittee at the moment. He has served as the deputy chairperson of the committee for the past 7 years. So he is the one actually many believe that was supposed to be heading the international relations. So whether there are some power games playing between himself and Mvula Mokonyana, we don't know. But it will be clear when the disciplinary committee of the ANC meets eventually to decide on this matter.
Given that South Africa now finds itself in a coalition government arrangement, does the ANC's International Relations Committee still hold a great influence over the international relations instruments of South Africa?
Yes, it does, because it dictates the foreign policy position of the governing party within the government of national unity. The ANC continues to dictate its foreign policy. We know, for example, on issues of Palestine, etc., it still leads and continues with the same trajectory. So it is an important subcommittee, and the ANC takes, of course, its cue and instructions from the conference of the ANC. And if the conference of the ANC decides on certain matters, the ANC, as a governing party, has no choice but to carry those forward. So it is a very, very important subcommittee of the ANC, but at some point, I think there's going to be some butting of heads, especially within the government of national unity, as other parties are flexing muscles. We know that the DA is quiet, but the DA is not also happy with the ANC's position, particularly on the Palestine-Israel conflict.
Yeah. Thembisa, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thembisa Fakude is the Director and Senior Research Fellow at AfriSed.